If you've ever wondered what society would look like comprised entirely of prisoners and wrongdoers, well, yeah.
No hay fuga posible.
There are definitely some issues with the initial premise of the platform. There's this prison, there's 333 layers, that's 2 prisoners per layer, and there's food coming down in this big tray, and you can take whatever you like. So, the first film went through how the platform is kind of about society, and how animalistic our society is when you break it down and put it under this sort of a lens, and how you could either end up at the bottom or the top every month. That isn't actually relevant anyway, unless you believe in, like, reincarnation, but that's not relevant. And there's 2 prisoners on each floor, and they all 666 prisoners supposedly get to put like a favorite dish on the thing. It never really looks like it's got that many dishes on it, but that doesn't matter. Now, if you thought this whole idea was kind of worn through by the end of the first movie, yes. But hear me out. This time there are people who have created a law stating that you can only eat the food assigned to you, the food that you've asked for to be put on the tray, and you have to eat that every day unless you make it traded with someone else. And also, if someone dies, then you have to just throw out their food instead of anyone getting it, which already seems nuts, but I get why they did it. And we get to watch as this woman goes from being on the side of the law, just kind of obeying it, to deciding I'm actively going to fight for it and stop people who are disobeying it, to getting punished for no real reason by the people who enforce the law, to deciding she's going to turn against it and start a whole riot and completely break down the law, to then deciding in the final act, actually, none of this matters anymore, I'm just going to escape. And then she doesn't. So, my problem is, it's 100 minutes long, and the film is trying to go through all of that, showing all of these different ideas from the perspective of one person, meaning that it moves lightning quick. And whatever message it's trying to make with each idea, each position she's in, it doesn't really manage to make any of them before it just zips on to the next one. The real question is, do they manage to stretch the messaging so that it works and they're adding on enough for another film? Or have we just given up on messaging entirely and they're just making more bullshit because the first one was popular and Netflix is shameless? That one. If you want to watch a film about how religion can help control a society, watch Dune Part 2. If you want to watch a film that's about how we can rise up against an oppressive society that may not have our best interests at heart, watch any 2010s young adult dystopian film. Yeah, there's loads of them. If you want a film that's confusing as hell because it's written by some angry Twitter nerd who kind of knows about lots of problems and wants to scream how problematic problems are in society and yet has no idea how to fix any of them, well, that's this one. Have you ever tried to speak to someone about deep topics but they just kind of screamed like, there are people dying in the Middle East? And you're like, yeah? What do you think we should do about that? And there's like, That's what's going on here. I understand that there are problems with our society, and I get, yeah, trickle-down economic, great, yeah, okay, sure. What else? They've milked that for 2 films now, and they have the audacity at the end of this one, and it's a very confusing, very out there ending, which is really just, they add some flair to it, but it's a rehash of the ending of the first one. It's very similar. And they have the gall in the post-credits to go, oh, look, bang, bang, big shocker, now we've got a third one set up, as if they'd done well enough with the first film to merit another 2 films, where we just kind of sit through the middle one. I'd say it's a shame that they didn't use the premise better in this film, but honestly, they kind of already milked it dry in the first one, so to justify the existence of this one, they did need to change it up. But they don't really. Like, they show this different facet, this different idea within it, fair enough, but they don't flesh that out very well. The problem with this, I'm guessing, is the same problem that Squid Game Season 2 is going to face in a couple of months. It's a novel idea, goes viral, everyone loves it, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need more of it. And I hate the idea, the term, oh, they ruined it by making more. I don't think that's real, but I do think it's a shame that they had a chance after making such an anarchist renegade movie with the first one to say something more, or to come up with some solutions, you know, to have a glimmer of hope of some kind at the end of this one. They do the exact same thing at the end of this one. It is to the nail the exact same thing. And that is shocking to me that they thought they would get away with that. And people would go, yes, great. No, nothing. So I'm giving Lisan Al-Gareed 2 stars. She goes from being interested to taking part in the law, to upholding the law, to being punished unfairly by the law, to revolution against the law and the downfall of the law, and then she's just like, oh no, better escape. No, never mind, not escape. The first one felt like it moved at a stately, happy pace. This one feels like it's never slow, but in a really bad way.